One of the things, if you're in competitive bid situations, one of the easiest ways for anybody in this room to go to jail is to collaborate with your fellow bidders on that bid, particularly if it's a project that's going to eventually be funded by the state or federal government. It is a violation of the antitrust laws to conspire on price. So one of the things you have to be careful about when you go to professional association meetings, you cannot discuss salaries of your people. You cannot discuss how much you're bidding on any project with a competitor. And that is a violation of federal law. And if you think about it, when you were in high school, you probably took social studies and you read about Teddy Roosevelt and the Trust Busters, and it's the Sherman Antitrust Act, and it's the Clayton Act, and it's the the Robinson-Patman Act specifically prescribe price fixing, and it has been defined as discussions of salaries and bidding with your customers.
So are salary surveys illegal?
No, but let me talk to you about salary surveys very quickly. Salary surveys are suspect. They're in the middle ground. So the feds have actually come down, and see, you probably don't see this, but in the old days, I actually, in my early days in human resources, we did salary surveys, and we did them, like a bunch of us just got together and we did them. The feds have now come in and said that they don't like that. Because I was, worked for a business, and we were getting everybody else's salary information, putting it together, we were putting the summaries together. So we only released the summary, but some of us knew exactly where that information came from. The new style for that is to have a third party, like you have an associate, like AIA does the survey. In AIA, it's kind of okay because it's national, they're averaging out the data, but there's all sorts of rules today, like if there's fewer than 5 businesses contributing data for a particular job, you can't do that. You have to aggregate it into a bigger job category so that you can't figure out which those 5 companies are. So there's a lot of rules today on using salary surveys, so it's much more restricted. And where you may not realize this, but the people are really being hammered right now are real estate agents because of the famous 6% thing. And you'll notice in the last 4 or 5 years there's been a huge change in that 6% standard. A lot of people are still charging it, but we've got a lot of rebate systems and reduced commission. I was driving around last night and heard a radio ad about where if your home is more than $300,000, they're going to give you a discount on the commission structure. A lot of this is a result of the federal government subtly coming in and saying to the Board of Realtors, we think this 6% deal is price fixing. So we just want you to see something that you see every day, and you may not, again, this is the kind of stuff that's not on the front page of the newspaper. What you're involved in, because it doesn't have the snap, crackle, pop of Ken Lay and Jeff Skilling over there at the Federal Building. This stuff's going on, and this is just as real, and it's bizarre. And I do presentations for professional associations where we tell the professional association, hey, you all sitting there, be careful what you're talking about. And there have actually been people, I'm trying to remember if it's the concrete, drywall. One of the big contracting associations here in Houston actually had a couple people that went to jail some years ago, and they afterwards hired me to come in and talk to their remaining members who are not in jail about how not to be in jail. So it is important not to get into those type of discussions.